Nothing will work unless you do. Maya Angelou. Nothing will work unless you do. And that has never been truer than when it comes to financial freedom and early retirement. We've all dreamed of that morning when you wake up without an alarm, no flood of emails, no meaningless meetings. A quiet moment where you make your coffee, open the window, and realize for the first time in years you don't have to rush to work. It sounds distant. But for millions of people, that dream is already becoming real. The only difference between them and everyone else, they started. Let me tell you the story of two friends, Sarah and Michael. Both were 35, both earned the same income, both dreamed of retiring early. Sarah began investing $500 a month in an S&P 500 index fund, a fund that has returned about 8% annually over the long term. Michael, on the other hand, said, "The market's too high right now. I'll wait for the perfect time." A year passed, then two, then three. When he finally started investing at age 38, both continued contributing the same amount all the way to age 60. At retirement, Sarah had nearly $850,000. Michael had only about $670,000. Same income, same savings, different start. Why such a gap? That's the power of compound interest, the reward reserved only for those who begin early. Those 3 years Michael spent waiting didn't just cost him 3 years of contributions. They cost him decades of interest on interest. To reach the same total as Sarah, he would have to work 6 to 7 extra years. 3 years of delay traded for 7 years of labor. That's the price of waiting for the perfect time. Most of us don't fail because we don't know what to do. We fail because we don't do it now. Every day you wait is a day of freedom stolen from your future self. You think you're waiting for a better moment, but the truth is the best moment has always been today. So remember Maya Angelou's words, nothing will work unless you do. There's no magic in money. No number grows on its own. No dream fulfills itself. Only one thing makes it real: your action right now. We often comfort ourselves with a phrase that sounds perfectly reasonable. It's okay, I still have time. And that is the sweetest illusion adulthood ever gave us. Because the moment you say I still have time, time itself is quietly slipping away and it never comes back. In personal finance, time isn't just the ticking of a clock. It's either your most powerful ally or your most ruthless enemy. If you act early, time becomes your partner, helping your money multiply day by day. But if you wait, it turns into your opponent, silently stealing your opportunities and your dream of freedom. There's a psychological bias called temporal discounting. It means we naturally undervalue the future and overvalue the present. A fancy dinner or a quick shopping spree feels worth it today, but the idea of an investment quietly growing tenfold in 20 years, barely exciting. So we choose short-term comfort, forgetting that every small indulgence can cost us years of freedom later. Imagine planting 2 trees in your backyard. One you plant today, the other you think I'll start in a few years. 3 years pass before you finally dig that second hole. Both trees are of the same species, rooted in the same soil, nurtured by the same sunlight and care. But time quietly, faithfully creates a gap that can never be undone. 20 years later, the first tree stands tall, casting a wide, cool shade where your family picnics beneath it. The second tree, still growing, but its shadow covers only one person. You can't water twice as much to make up for lost years. Because what it needed wasn't more water, it was time to live. Your money is no different. It doesn't need you to be a genius, it just needs you to give it time to grow. The earlier you plant, the deeper the roots, the stronger the trunk, and the sooner you'll sit beneath the shade of financial freedom. According to a 24 Fidelity report, those who start saving for retirement at age 25 are 3 times more likely to reach their goals than those who begin at 35. Not because they earn more, but because they gave their money an extra decade to work for them. What does that mean? It means that for every year you delay, the amount you need to reach financial independence increases by 10 to 15, not because expenses rise, but because you've missed the stage where money makes more money. And here's something few people talk about: the older you get, the less risk you can afford. A 30-year-old can ride out a market downturn, a 55-year-old nearing retirement cannot. At that stage, every year of waiting doesn't just slow growth, it quietly closes the window of opportunity. That's why the phrase, "I still have time," is the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves. It soothes us today but steals years of freedom tomorrow. Because time never stands still. It's either working for you or silently working against you. Albert Einstein once said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." And he was right word for word. Compound interest is when your money gives birth to children, and those children go on to have grandchildren. It's the reward for those who act early and stay consistent. But what most people don't realize is this: every year you delay, you're quietly stealing that magic from your own future. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you invest $500 a month in an S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned about 8% per year. If you start at age 30, by 60, you'll have nearly $750,000. Start at 35 and that drops to 5 to 10,000. Wait until 40 and you'll end up with only 340,000. See the pattern? Every 5 years of hesitation costs you roughly $200,000 simply because your money didn't have enough time to multiply. And here's the fascinating part. In the first 10 years, your account grows painfully slow. That's when the tree is just putting down roots. But in the final 10 years, the growth explodes almost equal to everything that came before it combined. That's when compound interest finally reveals its true power, and only those who start early enough and stay patient ever witness it. The problem: most people never make it that far. They miss the strongest growth phase because they can't stop digging up the seed to check if it's growing. They invest then panic and pull out. They save then spend because it feels too slow. And just like that, compound interest is stolen not by the market, but by human impatience. Compound interest doesn't only apply to money. It's the law of everything in life: knowledge, health, relationships, and freedom itself. The earlier you plant, the sooner you harvest. But the longer you wait, the faster the cost of time outpaces even the cost of inflation. You tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow." Then that tomorrow repeats 100 times. And suddenly you're 50, and the tree that could have reached your roof barely comes up to your shoulder. If there's one financial truth everyone should memorize, it's this: time is the only thing you can't borrow. You can borrow money, you can learn skills, you can earn more income. But no one can lend you 10 extra years to invest later. So if you're hearing this today, consider it a message from your future self whispering a simple truth. Start now. Today might feel like an ordinary day, but with compound interest, it could be the most important financial day of your life. Do you know what the biggest irony in personal finance is? It's not the people who don't have money. It's the ones who can start, but never do. We always have a reason to delay. I'll invest once I pay off my car. I'll start saving when my income's more stable. I'll begin when the market feels safer. And year after year, we trade a little temporary comfort for many years of lost freedom. Let me tell you about Nick, a perfectly ordinary American. He's 40, good job, decent income, owns a house, drives a nice car. Every time his friends talk about investing, he laughs and says, "I'll do it, just not yet. I want to clear my debts first." 5 years later, Nick still hasn't started. He has a new car, another vacation, but no assets earning for him. Then one day, as his daughter prepares for college, he opens a spreadsheet and realizes something painful. If he'd invested just $500 a month 5 years ago, he'd already have over $40,000 today and more than $500,000 in 20 years. Nick goes quiet. He isn't sad about what he didn't buy, he's sad about what he didn't begin. According to Fidelity's 2024 report, someone who starts saving for retirement at age 25 is 3 times more likely to reach their goal than someone who starts at 35. Wait until 40 and that likelihood is cut in half again. Not because they're less capable, but because they've lost their greatest ally: time. Waiting feels safe, but in reality, it's the riskiest choice you can make. Because the real risk isn't losing money, it's losing time. And time is the one thing you can't buy back, can't earn more of, and can't negotiate with. Someone who starts early might make mistakes, might even lose money, but they still have time to recover, to learn, to try again. Someone who never starts, they never get a chance. Think about it this way. If you delay investing for 10 years, you don't just lose 10 years of growth. You lose the growth of the growth that never got the chance to exist. That's why 3 years of waiting can cost you 7 years of freedom, just like in Sarah and Michael's story. When your money stands still, time keeps moving. Here's a striking fact. According to Vanguard, the average American starts saving seriously for retirement at age 42. But if they started just 10 years earlier, they could retire 12 years sooner. That means freedom at 53 instead of 65, all because they started earlier. You might be thinking, but I've already lost too much time. Does it even matter now? Here's the truth. No one can go back and plant a tree 20 years ago, but you can always plant one today. It may grow slower, but it will still grow. Procrastination is the quietest thief of freedom. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't scare you, but every day it steals a little time, a little opportunity, a piece of the future you could have lived. So if you're hearing this today, take it as a gentle reminder not to be afraid, but to begin. Because the most dangerous thing isn't failure, it's standing still for too long. There's a moment almost everyone faces in life, that quiet realization: I'm trading the days of my youth, the breath in my lungs, for a future I may never get to enjoy. One morning, you wake up earlier than usual. You make your coffee, look out the window, and see the first light slipping through the trees. Your phone buzzes an email from your boss reminding you that the weekend project needs to be done urgently. You sigh, glance at your cold cup of coffee, and realize you've missed the picnic with your kids, the dinner with your spouse, or even just a few minutes of quiet with yourself. It's not just another workday, it's a day you could have lived but didn't, because you weren't brave enough to choose differently. We often think our freedom is taken by someone else, a boss, a job, the bills, but the truth is, we steal our own freedom every time we say maybe tomorrow. Every time you whisper, I'm not ready yet, time doesn't pause to wait for you. It keeps counting. And with each passing second, you drift further from the life you could have lived sooner. Remember the words of Maya Angelou: nothing will work unless you do. Nothing moves unless you move. That quote isn't just for dreamers. It's for all of us, the ones who work hard every day, but rarely work for our own freedom. You might have a good job, a savings account, a stable home. But if your money isn't working for you, you're still trading time for cash, spending your life to earn what will one day run out. And one day you'll realize time was the most valuable asset you should have protected first. The real awakening doesn't come when you hit a number in your bank account. It comes when you finally understand every passing day isn't just another day at work, it's a day of freedom lost. From this moment on, you get to choose. You can keep waiting for the perfect time, or you can start even if it's imperfect, so that someday soon you'll never have to whisper, I wish I'd started earlier. If you're watching this right now, you're probably ready. You don't need a grand plan. You don't need everything figured out. All it takes is one small step, and that step you can take today. What keeps most people from ever starting isn't that they don't know what to do. It's that they think they have to start big. We love to imagine day one as something dramatic: opening a huge investment account, quitting the job, or suddenly switching to a life of financial freedom. But the truth is, most people who actually retire early start with steps so small no one even notices. Some begin by automatically investing $10 a day, about the price of 3 cups of Starbucks coffee. They don't overthink it. They don't time the market. They just set it, forget it, and let time do the heavy lifting. A woman named Lisa once shared her story on a FIRE forum, that's Financial Independence Retire Early. She started investing at age 37 with just $50 a week, simply because she thought, let's see what happens if I try. No fancy spreadsheets, no deep financial expertise. 15 years later, her account had grown to over $180,000, but more importantly, she said she was no longer afraid of money. I'm not rich, she said, but I'm no longer a slave to my paycheck, and that is real freedom. Starting small doesn't make you weak, it makes you unstoppable. Because once you start, you take away your brain's favorite excuse: I'll do it later. $10 today won't buy much, but invested wisely, it could become $50,000 in 30 years, simply because you began earlier than everyone else. You don't need to understand everything about the market. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to wait until you have more money. The only thing you need is to start, no matter how small. Automate it. Set up Auto Invest into an S&P 500 index fund. Move 5% of your income into savings before you spend it. Or simply open your first investment account, even if you don't deposit a cent yet. That tiny action might seem insignificant now, but it changes the entire direction of your future. Remember this: you can't control the market, but you can control when you begin. And the perfect time you've been waiting for. It's today. Because 5 years from now, you'll wish you had started right now. Financial freedom isn't a distant dream. It's a math equation, one that anyone can solve if they're willing to start. It sounds big, but the entire freedom formula really comes down to one simple number. How much do you need each year to live comfortably without working for money? Let's say you want to live on $40,000 a year after retiring. Financial planners call this your annual living expense. And the most popular way to find your freedom number is the 4% rule. It says that if your money is invested long-term and you withdraw only 4% per year, you can sustain that lifestyle almost indefinitely without depleting your principal. So to earn $40,000 a year, 40,000 0.04, $1,000, $1 million. Sounds huge maybe, but once you break it down, it's far more achievable than you think. If you invest $500 per month with an average annual return of 8%, the historical average of the S&P 500, you'll have nearly $750,000 after 30 years. Increase that to $700 per month and you'll cross the $1 million mark. Start just 5 years earlier and you could shorten your working life by almost a decade. Because when time becomes your ally, you don't have to work harder, you just have to let your money work for you. Now imagine this. When you have $1 million invested, just a modest 4% return gives you $40,000 a year to live on without working another day. Not because you were lucky, but because you did the math earlier than everyone else. The key isn't the number you have today. It's that you've started calculating for tomorrow. Every year you delay, your freedom number inflates by 10 to 15%. By the time you notice it's no longer 1 million, it's 1.2 or even 1.5 million simply because time has started working against you. This equation isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. Freedom isn't magic, it's math. A simple equation, but one that only rewards those brave enough to write the first number on the board. Once you know your number, every financial decision becomes clearer. Each time you spend, save, or invest, you'll know whether you're moving closer to or further from freedom. So don't just ask, when can I retire? Ask instead, how much do I need to live the life I want and what am I doing today to get there? You can't go back in time to plant the tree earlier, but you can always plant a seed today. And if there's one lesson we should all carry for life, it's this. Every dream begins to come true the moment you take action. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need hundreds of thousands in your account. You just need one decision. I'm not waiting anymore. Take one small action today. Open your first investment account. Set up an automatic transfer of 5% of your income into an index fund. Read 10 pages about managing money, or simply sit down and write out your freedom number. That single step may look small, but it changes the entire direction of your future. Remember, time is the only currency no one can buy more of. And every day you let it slip away, you're spending a piece of your life, so spend it intentionally. Picture this. A morning without an alarm clock. No flood of emails, no packed calendar. You walk onto your balcony, pour a cup of coffee, and realize today you get to choose what you want to do. That isn't a distant fantasy, it's the reward of consistency. Everyone has the same opportunity. Only those who start reach the finish line. Let Maya Angelou's words close this journey. Nothing will work unless you do. Nothing moves unless you do. So if you're watching this right now, don't just nod in agreement. Start today. Not for the money, but for freedom. Because every day you wait is a year of freedom stolen. And every small step you take is a year of freedom returned to you.